It has started. Well, welcome to Workshop Wednesday. My name is Courtney Banks Tatum, and I serve as the interim director of the Career Center. And we are so thrilled to have Vermeer here with us. We have two great, phenomenal representatives who will be talking a little bit about their organization, but also about the topic for today, which is, are you ready to join a global workforce? So feel free at any point to put in questions in the chat or to come on screen if you have any questions or just want to make a comment. You're more than welcome to do so. I'll be monitoring that throughout the presentation. And at the end, if Chris want to leave maybe a few minutes just for questions that students may have, that'll be great. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Chris.
All right, thanks, Courtney. Appreciate this opportunity. So yeah, when Billy and Courtney reached out to me, they asked if I could speak on the global workforce. And this is just my experience. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and something I never thought I would do. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through my journey, like from why it's important to consider something like this to how to be like a good candidate and be selected, I guess, or improve your odds of being selected, and what to expect. So I'm trying something new. I'm only using pictures, so I really want this to be more of a conversation. So if you do have questions, like please just speak up or put it in the chat, like Courtney said. And
Hey Chris, really quick, we can't see your screen.
Oh yeah, I'll turn it on.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
thank you. I did forget that, so thanks. All right, we'll go and share here. All right, sounds good. Okay, yeah, are you ready for the global workforce? Yeah, my name is Chris Shu. I'm the engineering manager for Vermeer EMEA. So EMEA is our Netherlands office. We cover Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So we are an equipment manufacturer and distributor. Our headquarters is in Pella, Iowa. And yeah, so we basically take product from Pella and we distribute it through Europe. And about 4 years ago, we decided to bring product development there to that office. So I was brought over to build up an engineering team. So we've done a lot of local hiring and things like that. And now we've been going at it for quite a while. We've got 3 different products that we've designed and built, and now they're in the hands of customers, and it's going really well. So what's that? So yeah, I mean for this to be interactive, but if you don't want to speak up, feel free to answer in the chat. But just a question: does anyone have an idea of what percentage of companies are sending people globally? Like this, just in their world, and it took me a long time to find this on Google. Surprisingly, the data is harder to find than I thought. All right, we got 35%. Good guess. That's kind of what I thought too. It's actually a little higher than that. It's 80%. I was really surprised. Here, I thought we were on the leading edge. I think that's kind of the norm now. So. And yeah, why do we think that is? Why do companies decide to invest in sending people global? Well, a number of things. I mean, the world's obviously changing. We got people that are connected now. It's not a big deal. We we can work remote. COVID helped us with that considerably. We've got our preferences are more global. I mean, just if you look at consumer products, cars, entertainment, everything. I mean, it doesn't matter where it's coming from in the world. I mean, we know about it through our connectivity and social media. Yeah, with transportation costs coming down too, it's very easy to get product from anywhere in the world. I mean, you really don't even know where a lot of product is made now. And of course, yeah, we're connected. And then also we're starting to have a lot of common causes that connect us and bring us together. Things like the climate crisis. That's a big thing right now. That a lot of people, that's a cause that's important to a lot of people. you know, and you see companies starting to center their purpose around causes that align with bigger groups, you know. So yeah, that's it. All kind of works together into this global approach. We this picture on the bottom right, this is just a typical day with our engineering team. So we've got probably half the guys are Dutch. We got one Egyptian, one British guy, one guy from India. Yeah, an American. So I have a video. I'll put the link on the chat here at the end, but I encourage you to watch this on your own, or you can just Google Vermeer Netherlands. This is a video we created to help create awareness about what we do in the Netherlands and what our team is and how we work. I'm just going to show you just a couple little screenshots. Not not near as big. It's not near as big as what's in Pella, Iowa. We've got around 100 people now. 30 engineers versus like Pella, Iowa, which has, I think, Billy, we're close to what, 3,000 maybe? 2,500, something like that.
Yeah, we're nearing 4,000 globally. So I think we're at a little over 3,000 in Pella.
Okay. So we still consider ourselves the little European startup compared to Pella, but we do have all functions. We have engineering, manufacturing, sales, service, marketing, the whole thing. Yeah, this is our office here. We're still small enough we can just park out in front of the office, which is nice. Let's see. This is from inside our office. We just remodeled it. It's pretty modern. Lots of glass. Got these nice little collaborative spaces, you know, where we can meet and brainstorm. So this is the engineering team here. Just a small portion of them. I'll show you the inside of the facility. So we make, this is one of the products we make. It's called a brush chipper. It's basically a small machine you pull behind your vehicle, and you put a tree in the back, and it chips it up and spits it out the chute. One of the reasons why we're focusing on a product like this is it's meant to be pulled behind a car, and basically anything that's on the road, that's where we see a really big difference between the product requirements of the US versus Europe. The roads in Europe are a lot smaller. The maximum weight is a lot lower. So we have to re-engineer all the equipment to be lighter and more compact. So. I think I'm going to go ahead and just keep going, but I do encourage you to watch the video because we do talk about why Vermeer is investing in this facility and why we see the future coming from Europe. Here's just kind of a global footprint of Vermeer. So of course, we have our headquarters there in Pella, but we also have several. Actually, I think this is out of date now that I look at it, but we have several sites in the U.S. with Vermeer Freeman, and then down in Vermeer and V Solutions in the Carolinas, and we do have a manufacturing facility in China as well as distribution. But mainly our factories are U.S., Europe, and China. So I kind of want to walk you through like how I got to where I'm at, and just really just to kind of share just, you know, this isn't something I thought I would do. I guess I didn't tell you much about myself. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm 41. I've got a wife and 3 kids. My kids are ages 5 through 12. So we brought everyone over here. It's I wouldn't do it any other way. I wouldn't split up. But, I started out, like most kids in Kansas, kind of a gearhead. I like to work on cars. So I thought, hey, I'm good at working on cars. I want to be a mechanic. Dad said, no, you need a degree. So I said, okay, fine, I'll be an engineer. I'm going to engineer cars. And then, so I went to Kansas State University, and then learned about Pella Windows through a career fair, and they're located in Pella, Iowa. So I went there and became an engineer. Actually, I worked with Billy there, and her husband, and learned a lot about engineering, process, project management, et cetera. It's a good fit. I was there for 7 years, and then I just started feeling like this is okay, but I don't think this is me. And then I picked up a hobby doing metalworking and bought one of these robotic laser cutting machines. And I'm always kind of, a hands-on person. And then, friends started saying, hey, you gotta check out Vermeer. They do that stuff all day long. So I decided to leave Pella and I went to Vermeer, and then I started engineering their brush chippers. Again, like we have in Europe, but of course these are the North American ones. And then that, one thing led to another. Then I was asked to lead a project to design drills. These are used for putting fiber optics in the ground. Enjoyed that, and along the way, I saw a challenge where we were tasked with trying to make machines really quiet. So I really enjoy engineering and science, so I kind of geeked out on that, and we made it really quiet, and we got the quietest machine in the industry. So that led to forming like a specialized team to make other machines quiet. So okay, I'll do that. So then we started helping all these different teams, and we made probably 5 or 6 machines quieter. And then our team in Europe called, because at this point Europe was just doing distribution of other machines, and they said, hey, we've got this mining machine in Switzerland, but it's in Switzerland. There's these villages around this mine. It's got to be quieter. Can you help us figure out how to make it quieter? I was okay. So went over to Europe, spent a week there, met some crazy guy from some Swiss audio company, and we were out there with microphones. It was great. And but anyway, but that really kind of got me connected with the European people, and we started talking about, hey, what if we should really make product here, and it should be special for this region. And I kind of knew where this was going, so I planted some seeds, like, hey, if you ever need a guy. And then I remember going home and telling my wife, I think if we wanted to move to Europe, I think it could happen. And that was a hard no. Like, I didn't even want to talk about it. So I'll get back to that here in a minute. But anyway, so long story short, we said yes. We came over, started doing brush chippers. So that was kind of neat, because that's why I started out with a Vermeer. And then we grew that, and then that worked out really well. So then basically after about 2 years, we doubled the team, and we decided to get into electric equipment. So now that's what we're doing at the moment. So then I guess, well, now I'm here talking to you guys. So thanks for this opportunity. But when I look at this path and everything, I guess the one thing I would say is what's worked really well for me is to always be curious and always act on your gut. I mean, as soon as I felt like, I wonder if there's something that's a better fit, I investigate, and that honestly, it's usually the investigating led to the decision. It really wasn't even a decision by the time I did all the investigation. So, and lastly, I'd say is make your interest known. I was always pretty vocal about how open-minded I was to take on something new. So yeah, so that's my path. Now I'd like to just talk a little bit about how to, I'm assuming you're interested in working global, or you wouldn't be on this call. So here's just a few pointers, to get yourself considered for something like that. So I guess yeah, another question. Yeah, what do you think is the percentage of Americans who speak a second language? And I should clarify, the percentage of US citizens who speak a second language. Any guesses? Ooh, a good guess, Billy. 50, ooh, that's good. That's a good one too. 25%. So good job, Billy. All right. So now, what percent of Europeans do you think speak a second language? Oh, Billy, you must have saw my slides. 65%. Actually, to be honest, I thought this number, I was surprised. I really thought this number was low because my experience here is most people, of course, they know Dutch and English. If they're under 40, they speak English. Anymore, I very rarely even ask them if they speak English. I just start speaking. And I don't speak Dutch, so I feel extremely guilty like every day. I feel like some really self-centered American. And the fact that we call ourselves American when I got like friends here from Mexico and Canada, you know, but we say Americans in the context of, you know, US citizens, but it's just amazing how many times you're reminded that the world is so much bigger than the US. I would definitely things you can do to just improve your odds. Definitely learn a second language. That's wow. I really wish I would have done that. I mean, I took a little bit of Spanish in school, but I really wish I would have done that. So that's what we wanted for our kids, so they're learning Dutch right now. There's so many great tools out there. We have used Duolingo. It's an app. You've probably seen it. It's kind of fun, and it'll get you to the point where you can, you know, go navigate the store and order a cup of coffee. Network, definitely. Yeah, just definitely take every opportunity to network. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just try. It's awkward sometimes, but just keep trying. And then yeah, make your interest known. Be vocal. Be present. Be out there. Don't stay hidden in your jobs. You know, volunteer for things like speaking at colleges about your experiences. So, all right. All right. How many? Okay, I can't figure out the right way to ask this question, but hopefully you'll understand it. So, how many times more? Basically, what I'm getting at is it's really expensive to send somebody globally. So, how many times a typical salary do you think it is to send somebody on like an international assignment for 3 to 5 years? And this is because this is the intent is you're trying to make it to where it doesn't negatively impact your current way of life. So you can basically put your life on hold in the US, go over to another country, and then come back and pick up where you were. Oh, I saw it. Saw the comment, but it disappeared. Twice? Ooh, good guess. Yeah, really close. It's 2.5 times. So it's a big expense. Vermeer has had, I think, like 6 now. So actually, right now in Europe, we actually have 2. We have an overlap at the moment. But our current CEO, Jason, was one. Steve Heap, our head of international business. Bob Schumann, he's our VP of one of our business units in Pella. And then Steve Shem, he's our current director. He's also from Pella. He's an expat. And then we have one in China, Calm. So yeah, so I guess if this is something that you're interested in, you know, or if you're presented this opportunity, I would say the first thing is do your research on what an expat is. And expat stands for expatriate. So basically, it means that you maintain your US citizenship, but you also have like a residence permit in the country you're going to. So like for me, it works out really great because I've got my U.S. passport and a Dutch residence card. So I can, like with COVID, I can go both directions. I'm kind of a citizen in both places. But yeah, as far as the expat package, you definitely, when you're trying to make this decision, a good starting point for your research is just to understand the expat package. So yeah, make sure it includes things like, or at least consider, the impact of relocation, tax equalization. The taxes are different between the two countries, and healthcare. For us, since we have children, school was a really big important factor. Driver's license. I know several people that have, they came over and they didn't really need a car because public transportation and everything is great. But then if you wait too long, your US license expires and it doesn't transfer to your Dutch. And then you have to take the European exam. And they take it extremely serious. If you wanted to get your license here in the Netherlands, it'll cost you like $1,800. You got to be 18 years old, and it's like months of training. It's really, really rigorous. But luckily, because I like exchanged my license, that they just traded my US one. But if I would have waited, then I would lose it. But now when I go back to the US, I have to go take my driver's license exam. So actually, my son's going to be 14, so he'll probably be taking driver's license, be taking the classes the same time as me. So that's going to be kind of funny. Yeah, another thing to consider is what's your job after the assignment? What's your plan to get back home? And Vermeer's been very fortunate. Like on all these points, they've made it very easy. They really put my family first. I've never felt like we're not being taken care of. Family visits is another thing to definitely factor in. I mean, with our family of 5 flying back to the US, that can cost, I mean, flights have been 2,000 to 1,500. So I mean, moving our family, just going home for Christmas, that costs you like 7,000. So, you really need to factor all that kind of stuff in. Yeah, even retirement in terms of your 401k, how all that works. So these are just details you want to think about. What happens if it doesn't work out? What if it's not a good fit? Then what? So, but like in my case, Vermeer has been, like I said, you communicate often. These are things you talk about daily, but yeah, that hasn't been a problem. It's never been a problem for anyone, actually, that's been an expat. Other things to consider, yeah, research the churches and community organizations. Having a support network is extremely important. There is a lot of ups and downs. Also, talk to others who have been through it. That's where we probably learn the most. So yeah, so we did our research, and so this is like a special thing for if you have a spouse or a partner. Like for us, it started out with like me, bags are packed, I'm ready to go. And my wife was a hard no. And where we had common ground on was we would agree to listen to each other and we would evaluate all of our fears. And we really had this little ruler, like the picture I would draw. I said, okay, I'm not going to apply for this job unless we're 70% sure we'd say yes. And it's like, we'd talk about all of our fears and we'd be like at 20%. And then we'd, discuss, do our research, and then we're at 30%. And then soon we got to 70%. We came over here for a visitation visit, and then we were sold at 100%. But so also, know what's expected of you. I was approached by the European business unit, but really this is usually a thing like an expat position, a global position. It's probably very strategic for a company, and there's probably multiple stakeholders and probably multiple opinions on what we're going after here. So in some ways, I definitely have 3 bosses, and I'd almost say 4 on some occasions. So it's really important to be constantly checking in with everybody to see what their expectations are. When you do decide to go all in, because there is no way to halfway do this. So this is my family here on the top right. We basically moved over with everything that you could take on the airplane. So it was 2 check bags and 1 carry-on. So we maxed that out, and those are my kids there. And then so that was pretty real. And then the bottom left there is at the grocery store. That was the first day we landed. It was like 95 degrees, and they don't have air conditioning here. It's crazy, strange weather. The house that we had rented had been closed up for a long time, and so the air was kind of warmed up, So anyway, we go into this house, and it's like no internet, no TV because we didn't have the utilities hooked up yet. Kids are crying. We go across the street to the grocery store and we realize, oh, it's all in Dutch, and we don't know Dutch. Like, I don't know, through all that research, we just never bothered to learn Dutch. I wouldn't recommend that. I would learn Dutch first. But anyway, we figured it out, and yeah, and every day got a little better and better. So, but one thing we did know going into it that we learned in our research is that it's very typical that you would go through this thing called culture shock. And I think a lot of things are this way when you're talking about dealing with change, where at first, you got this artificial sense of euphoria and you're like, oh, everything's great. And then you hit this hard dip where you think it's doom and gloom, and then you slowly climb yourself out of it, and then everything becomes kind of automatic and normal. So for us, yeah, that euphoria, we're like what is it, National Lampoons, like Clark Griswold, and we're touring, we're going on vacation, like, yeah, this is what we wanted. And then pretty soon, actually, our low and COVID just happened to correlate, or they lined up at the same time. So next thing we know, we're like locked up in our house, and we're watching like all of our family on Facebook with their birthday parties and their weddings, and we're here, we're not traveling, and it's horrible. But then, you meet friends, and then you just figuring out the way of life again, and then everything's good again. So, but yeah, that's a pretty typical cycle. So being aware of that cycle is important. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of that cycle, like as you're navigating, trying to figure out what the new normal is, you're faced with all these cultural norms. Like here in Europe, when they greet, they kiss each other on the cheek. I never did get that figured out. Like I think it's 2 here, and in France it's 3. And you only do it if you are on like this semi close relationship, but I never could figure out what that line was. But luckily, COVID hit right before like I was at the point in relationships where it was appropriate to start kissing. So I got out of it. Another one was, people can be really particular about their customs. At work, I thought, okay, I'm gonna do a nice thing. I'm gonna bring in donuts and just say thank you to a team member, for going above and beyond. So it's startup in the morning, and I said, hey guys, enjoy some donuts. Just want to take a minute, say thank you to so and so. Afterwards, I get pulled aside and I'm told, hey, you know what? We don't single out a person and tell them congratulations. That's like pulling them out of the tribe. It's like it doesn't feel good, like in that culture. And then we don't eat sweet things for breakfast. We have them a coffee at 10. Actually, when I gave them at the team, they took them, they set them aside, said, we'll have these at 10 o'clock. So that was the one time I brought in donuts. And then yeah, my wife Cindy, she had a funny story where we had to have a plumber come over to work on our house. And he greeted us at the door, and he apparently expect us to give him coffee. And we learned really quickly that anytime somebody comes to your house, even the plumber that's there to fix the toilet, first has a cup of coffee with you. So now we give everybody coffee. So, but you figure it out. You know, other things you have to figure out quickly is like driving in the road signs. I mean, it's the number of bike paths and lanes, like in the center picture here, and like these do not enter signs. I mean, even like the no sign doesn't have the slash through it here. You know, it's the number of new things at the beginning is a little bit overwhelming, but now it's all normal. So, another question for you: how many different nationalities do you think work in our Netherlands office? Like I showed you a few in that engineering screen, that engineering picture. Well, that's a good guess. All right, it's 12. So yeah, I was surprised too. And it's constantly changing. I mean, we are growing. We went from 70 to 100 in 2 years. So we are yeah, we're constantly hiring people. When we recruit from all over. Actually, I just interviewed a guy from South Africa today. And he might be our third South African we have right now. So yeah, so having all those different cultures in the office is really important. There's plenty of tools out there. One of them is called the culture map, and you know, this is just a graph just to show the spread and how different different cultures are making decisions. So the one at the bottom, second from the bottom, avoiding conflict. On the right, you have Indian. On the left, you have Netherlands. That's a big dynamic in our team right now, really big. And we, you know, confrontation and conflict, and you know, that's how we work. I mean, so we have to figure out ways to, you know, make that safe and okay for everyone. I mean, basically, it's just a lot of talking, lots of talking and understanding, and just not overreacting and realizing that most of the things going on around you are nothing's personal. You know, you got to have thick skin, and it's just really, it's just what happens when you have these multiple cultures coming together. So another, you know, thing that is now normal, but at first I thought it was strange. A lot of our engineers, even I wouldn't say a lot, but a few of our engineers, um, they don't have cars. They either ride a bike to work or they take the train, and the public transportation is really good. And you know, that's just one of those things. At first, you're like, "Well, that's kind of strange," but I guess what I'm getting at is you don't. Of course, you don't judge, but even those things that you once thought were strange, they're actually really, really normal. And um, I find that exciting, I guess, going through and having the chance to redefine what is normal. So, and that leaves me with my last slide, which now that I've got this weird new definition of what is normal, it leads to a lot of interesting Thanksgiving conversations. So, like, I mean, I have a life that I had in Kansas and viewpoints and raised a certain way, but now I've been exposed to so many different things that are, to me, they're normal and reasonable and rational. They're not strange. They're not crazy. I'm not going to get political, you know, but all I can say is that I'm a lot more accepting of other viewpoints, and it sure makes Thanksgiving fun for the dinner time conversations. So. But yeah, so that's really what I had for today. It was just wanted to just to paint a picture for what an expat assignment is, how to get yourself prepared for it, and yeah, what to expect along the way. So if you have questions, I'm happy to take those now. You can type them into the chat. Let's see, we got one right now. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Okay, the question is, what's been the highlight work related? Ooh, I like, even though this isn't a international thing, I like being in a small team that's far enough away that you got to kind of figure out things on your own. We are connected digitally, but we are shifted time-wise. But it allows you to experiment and try new things, which I've really enjoyed that. We have another one here. How long is your assignment in the Netherlands, and are you looking forward to going back to living in the US, or do you want to stay abroad? Oh man, that's been the question. Oh boy, that's a good question. So, we talk about that all the time at home, and that is swung back and forth from let's stay here for the rest of our lives to I think we need to move back now. But I think it's because we were up and down in the culture shock thing. But no, we are planning on moving back here by June of 2023. That'll mark 5 years for our assignment, and it's really the basis for that is we've got a 14 year. Our oldest will be 14. We want to get back before they're in high school. The schools are really great here, but we just miss home, and there's certain things we want our kids to be exposed to that we had growing up, and it's been a really tough decision, really tough. But I don't regret it, and I'm pleased because I'm certain our kids, when they grow up, they're gonna move out of the country and do something of their own. It's I think that trend will continue.
I think so as well. So. All right, so it doesn't look like we have any more questions, but I want to take this time to thank Chris and Billy for joining us today, and Chris for sharing your expertise and experience with us. So that will definitely be helpful as they navigate working or joining a global workforce in the future. So thank you again for doing that. I am going to end the recording, and then I'll talk about next steps.